There's a moment every woman has felt at least once. The strange feeling that a man is noticing her, watching her, drawn toward her, yet never fully saying what's on his mind. It's subtle, almost mysterious. He may act calm, composed, even distant, but something in his energy keeps pulling in your direction. And that's because real attraction is rarely announced with words. More often, it quietly reveals itself through gestures, through presence, through tiny moments most people completely overlook. The way his eyes lock onto you for just a second too long. The way his posture changes when you walk into the room. The way his attention seems to find you, even in a crowded place full of distractions. These are not accidents. These are silent signals. And once you understand them, you begin to see attraction in a completely different way. Suddenly, what once felt confusing becomes clear. What once felt like guessing becomes knowing. Because when a man is secretly attracted, his body often tells the truth before his mouth ever does. His energy shifts. His focus sharpens. His actions begin speaking a language deeper than conversation, a quiet language of interest, curiosity, admiration, and undeniable pull. In this video, we're going beyond surface level signs and uncovering the gestures that reveal what he may be trying hard to hide. Some are obvious, some are incredibly subtle. But one of them, the sign most women miss, can completely change how you understand male attraction. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you may start seeing someone in your life very differently and finally understand what his silent gestures have been trying to say all along. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the first and most consistent signs shows up in something so simple that most people ignore it: his eyes. It's not just about looking at you once or twice. It's about the pattern behind it. He looks at you, then quickly looks away, then somehow finds his way back to you again. Almost like his attention has a habit it can't break. Even when he tries to focus on something else, his gaze naturally returns to you without effort. That's not random. That's interest pulling him in. There's a difference between a normal glance and a meaningful one. A normal glance is quick, empty, forgettable. But when a man is drawn to you, his look carries weight. It lingers just a little longer than necessary. He notices details without even realizing it. Your expressions when you laugh, the way you react to things, the small changes in your mood. It's like his mind is quietly collecting pieces of you. And the interesting part is, he may not even be fully aware he's doing it. Attraction often works before logic catches up. You might also notice a shift in his eye contact when you speak to him directly. At first, he may try to stay composed, maybe even a bit controlled, but as the conversation continues, something changes. His eyes soften. They become more focused, more attentive, almost like he's trying to understand not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it. There's curiosity in his gaze. A kind of silent question that says, "Who are you really?" And then there's the subtle hesitation, that half-second pause before he looks away, that moment where his eyes stay just a little longer than they should. It's small but powerful, because in that split second, his interest becomes visible. He might quickly break eye contact, maybe even act casual right after, but the truth has already shown itself. You don't keep returning your gaze to someone unless they occupy your attention in a deeper way. What makes this sign even more interesting is how it shows up in group settings. Even when there are many people around, his eyes still find you. It's not forced. It's instinctive. You become his reference point in the room, and every time you speak, laugh, or move, his attention naturally tracks back to you like it's tuned to your presence. This is why eye contact is one of the strongest indicators of hidden attraction. Because words can be controlled, behavior can be managed, but attention, real, repeated, unintentional attention, is much harder to fake. When a man keeps looking at you, returning to you, and noticing you in ways he doesn't do with others, it usually means one simple thing: his interest is already there, even if he hasn't said it out loud yet. When a man is secretly attracted to you, his body often tells the truth long before his words ever do. One of the clearest signs is something most people don't consciously notice: how his body naturally positions itself around you. It's not something he plans, it just happens. Because attraction doesn't only live in the mind, it shows up in posture, direction, and movement. You'll notice that even in a group setting where there are many people around, his body tends to face you. His shoulders slowly turn in your direction. His chest is angled toward you. Even his feet, which people rarely think about, often point toward where his attention truly is. It may look small, almost invisible, but it's actually very meaningful. The body has a natural habit of pointing toward what feels interesting or emotionally important. And when a man is drawn to you, you become that focus without him even realizing it. What makes this even more interesting is how he behaves when you move. If you shift your position, he subtly adjusts too. Not in a dramatic way, but in small natural corrections, like he's staying aligned with your presence. It's as if his attention wants to stay connected, even when the environment changes. And this is not something he is consciously trying to do. In fact, if you asked him, he might not even notice it. But the body doesn't lie the same way words can. You may also see him leaning slightly toward you when you speak. This lean is important. People only lean toward what they want to hear more clearly or what they find engaging. It creates closeness without distance. It's a silent way of saying, I'm here. I'm listening, I'm interested, and when combined with steady eye contact, it becomes even more powerful. His entire attention system is directed toward you. Even in casual moments, standing, sitting, or talking, his energy seems to orient itself in your direction. He may not always be close physically, but his posture suggests emotional closeness. And this is where attraction becomes very real. Because when a man is not just looking at you, but his entire body is subtly aligned toward you, it means his focus is no longer scattered. It has a center. And in that moment, you are that center. What's important to understand is that this kind of behavior is rarely intentional. Most men are not thinking, I should face her. Instead, their interest quietly pulls their body into alignment. It's instinctive, natural, almost automatic. That's what makes it such a strong sign. Words can be rehearsed, but body language is much harder to control. So when you notice a man consistently turning toward you, leaning in your direction, and orienting himself around your presence, it's not just politeness or habit. It often means something deeper is happening beneath the surface. His mind may still be figuring things out, but his body has already chosen where it wants to be. Another powerful sign of hidden attraction shows up in something very simple but very telling: how a man changes the moment you enter the room. This shift is often subtle, but once you notice it, it becomes impossible to ignore. It's like his entire energy recalibrates around your presence. Before you arrive, he may be relaxed, distracted, or even neutral. But the moment you step in, something inside him switches on. You'll often see it first in his posture. He sits a little straighter. He becomes more aware of himself. His body language tightens slightly, not in a nervous way, but in a way that shows he's now conscious of how he is being seen. It's as if your presence suddenly made him more alert to the space he is in. That change is not random, it's reaction. People don't adjust themselves unless something matters to them on some level. Then there's his expression. You might notice a quick shift in his face, a subtle lift in his mood. Sometimes even a faint smile appears before he even speaks to you. It's almost automatic, like seeing you creates a small emotional spark he cannot fully hide. Even if he tries to act normal, his energy gives him away. His attention becomes sharper, more focused, more present. His voice can also change. When he speaks around you, there may be a slight difference in tone, either softer, more careful, or more animated than usual. He might try to sound confident, or on the other hand, become slightly more reserved depending on his personality. But either way, there is a shift, because your presence adds weight to how he expresses himself. He becomes more aware of every word. What's really interesting is how his attention behaves in that moment. Even if he was engaged in something else, you instantly become part of his focus. He may try to continue what he was doing, but his awareness keeps drifting back to you. It's like his mind is split for a moment, half in the situation, half on you. And that kind of divided attention only happens when someone matters more than they are openly admitting. In social settings, this becomes even more obvious. If he is talking to others, he might still glance in your direction between conversations. If he is laughing with friends, his awareness still seems slightly tuned into your presence. It's not distraction, it's attraction quietly pulling his focus in two directions. And perhaps the most telling part is how quickly this change happens. There is no delay, no adjustment period. It's instant. You appear, and his energy responds. That kind of reaction is not something people consciously control. It is instinctive, emotional, automatic. So when you notice a man subtly shift his posture, mood, voice, and attention the moment you walk in, it is often more than just awareness. It can be a reflection of interest he hasn't fully expressed yet. Because when someone matters to us, even in a quiet, unspoken way, our energy always reacts before our words ever do. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the most consistent patterns you'll notice is how he starts finding small, almost unnecessary reasons to connect with you. It doesn't always begin with big conversations or obvious effort. Instead, it starts in very simple ways that can easily be missed if you're not paying attention. He might ask questions he already knows the answer to, or bring up topics that don't really need discussion, just to keep the interaction going. Because at the core of attraction, there is one quiet desire: connection. You'll notice that even short conversations with him don't stay short for long. What could have ended in a few words slowly turns into something longer. He adds a comment, then another question, then a small joke, then a follow-up. It's like he doesn't want the moment to end too quickly. There's no rush in his behavior when he's talking to you. Instead, there's a subtle effort to extend the time, even if the topic itself is very simple. Another interesting sign is how he starts remembering small details about you. Things you mention casually, maybe even in passing, suddenly come back in later conversations. He might refer to something you said days ago, or ask about something you didn't expect him to recall. This is not just memory, it's attention. People usually remember what they care about without trying too hard. And when a man is drawn to you, your words don't just pass through him, they stay with him. You may also see him checking in with you for no strong reason. A simple message, a small question, or a casual greeting that doesn't really need an excuse. It's not about the content, it's about the intention behind it. He is creating openings to talk, even when there is no practical need, because attraction naturally looks for pathways to stay connected. Even in the smallest ways, in face-to-face interactions, this becomes even more visible. He may linger a little longer after conversations end. He may slow down his steps when passing by you. He may initiate small talk in situations where silence would have been completely normal. These are not accidents. They are subtle choices that create more time, more presence, more interaction. What's important to understand is that this kind of behavior is not always loud or obvious. It doesn't always come with big gestures or dramatic actions. In fact, it often looks very normal on the surface, but when you step back and observe the pattern, it becomes clear. He is consistently creating reasons to stay in your space, even in the smallest ways, and the reason behind it is simple. When someone is genuinely drawn to you, they don't just want to see you once and walk away. They want repeated interaction. They want familiarity. They want presence. So they unconsciously build small bridges, tiny conversations, casual questions, brief check-ins that keep you in their orbit. So if you notice a man repeatedly finding reasons to talk to you, no matter how small or unnecessary it may seem, it often means something deeper is going on beneath the surface. Because when attraction is real, connection doesn't need a big reason. Even the smallest excuse is enough to start it. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the most emotionally revealing signs appears in something very quiet but deeply meaningful: his protective behavior. And it's important to understand this is not about control or dominance. It's not loud or obvious. It's subtle, natural, almost instinctive. It shows up in small moments where he simply starts caring about your comfort, your safety, and your emotional space without being asked. You might notice he becomes more aware of how others are treating you, not in an obvious or interfering way, but in quiet observation. If someone interrupts you, he notices. If someone speaks to you in a dismissive tone, he pays attention. If the environment around you feels slightly uncomfortable, his energy subtly shifts. It's like his mind is gently tracking your experience in the room, even when he is not directly involved in it. Another sign is how he checks in with you in simple ways that don't feel forced. He may ask if you reached home safely, or if you are okay after something stressful, or if you need anything without you asking first. These are small actions, but they carry emotional weight because they show awareness. And awareness is always the beginning of emotional investment. You may also notice a kind of quiet attentiveness in how he positions himself around you. If you are walking in a crowded space, he may naturally slow down to stay close. If you are in a group, he may subtly adjust to make sure you are not left out or uncomfortable. It's not dramatic protection, it's gentle presence. The kind that feels steady rather than overwhelming. What makes this sign so powerful is that it often shows up without words. He doesn't announce it, he doesn't explain it, he simply behaves in a way that creates a sense of ease around you. You might feel it more than you see it. A sense that someone is quietly aware of you without making it obvious. Even emotionally, this protectiveness can show up in conversation. He may be careful with his words when discussing sensitive topics. He may try not to upset you unnecessarily. He may adjust his tone if he senses discomfort. These are small emotional calibrations that reflect concern, not because he has to, but because your reaction matters to him more than he admits. And here's the deeper truth. Men rarely develop this kind of protective instinct for everyone. It usually forms when there is genuine emotional pull. When someone starts occupying space in his mind, his awareness naturally extends toward their well-being. It becomes automatic, not planned, not rehearsed, just felt. So when you notice a man quietly paying attention to your comfort, subtly watching over your experience, or naturally stepping into moments where you might need support, it often means something more than simple kindness. It reflects a growing emotional connection that hasn't been fully spoken yet, but is already showing itself through behavior. Because real attraction doesn't always come as words or declarations. Sometimes it comes as presence, and that presence quietly says, I notice you, and I care more than I'm saying out loud. Now here's the truth most people overlook. Attraction is rarely about what is said out loud. It lives in the small, quiet signals that happen when no one is trying to impress anyone. The eyes that return again and again, the body that naturally leans in, the sudden change in energy when someone enters the room, the small excuses to stay connected, and the subtle sense of care that shows up without explanation. When you start noticing these patterns, you stop overthinking every word and start understanding behavior on a deeper level. Because feelings don't always announce themselves clearly, but they always leave traces. And once you learn to read those traces, you move differently. You see people more clearly. You understand intention without needing constant confirmation. And that awareness changes how you connect, how you respond, and how you value your own attention. But here's something important. Don't rush to assume everything. Not every glance is attraction, and not every gesture carries meaning. What matters is the pattern, the consistency, the repeated behavior over time. That is where truth usually lives. So stay observant, but stay grounded. Notice energy, not just moments, and most importantly, don't lose your own calm while trying to decode someone else's. If this helped you see things in a new way, take a second to reflect. Have you noticed any of these signs in someone recently? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else understand their situation better too. And if you want more simple, clear insights like this on attraction, behavior, and relationships, make sure you stay connected, because sometimes understanding the smallest gestures can completely change how you see the biggest emotions.